Every angler has their own strategies, their own tips and tricks they use to catch as many fish as possible. And while they all have their own individual likes, their own favorite hooks and lures and brand of line and all that, there are some things that they share, some habits that allow them to consistently catch more fish. But before you start going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what the best brand of hook is or what the best leader material, the best brand line, all that detail-oriented stuff, if you are having trouble catching fish, you need to go back to the basics. And the best place to go is to figure out what the best fishermen do, some of the habits that they have that make them successful, and try to imitate that. So in this video, we're going to go over 5 habits of successful fishermen. But before we get into the habits of highly successful fishermen, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And I'd also like to thank Bass Pro for sponsoring this video. And so the first habit of highly successful anglers is they wake their ass up and get out on the water early. The saying is the early bird gets the worm, and so the early fisherman catches the fish. The early mornings are the best times to go fishing, in my opinion. The fish are a lot more active at dusk and dawn, it's a lot cooler out, and if you're on a very popular body of water, you won't be dealing with as many pleasure boaters out there as you would in the midday heat. Starting out early not only allows you to spend more time out on the water, but it allows you to be out there during some of the most productive times. We're all busy, we've all got responsibilities, so instead of trying to spend as much time on the water, start thinking about how you can spend the most productive time out on the water. And the second habit of highly successful anglers is they change their hooks often. All casting and no sharpening makes for a dull hook, and that was a horrible attempt at trying to be clever. Hooks don't keep their edge forever, and some of them even start out dull, and you'll start noticing that as you start buying more and more different brands of hooks. But keeping a sharp hook is important to actually catching that fish. So if you're going to different spots trying to finally get a bite, and when you do, you don't land it, you find out your hook is dull, you are going to be severely pissed. You should either change your hooks often or keep a good hook sharpener on hand. Honestly, it's just much easier to tie on a new hook to begin with, but that's only if you're using high quality hooks that don't require sharpening right out of the package. I will typically tie on a new hook every time I go out fishing. I try to never use the same hook from one outing to the next. And if you pre-tie some rigs, that also helps out a lot. It makes it much easier to go from one to the next. And this should really include your line too. Good fishermen don't use the same line from year to year, and if they fish a lot, they might change their line multiple times throughout a fishing season. And if your rig uses leaders, check your leaders often for frays, especially if you're fishing in a lot of brush where that friction can weaken that leader line. You do not want to break off on a good fish just because you were a little lazy and forgot to check that. And of course, if you need any gear, make sure you check Bass Pro for your hooks, your leaders, anything like that. And for you people who like to catfish, I know everybody always touts the Abu Garcia reels. They are good, don't get me wrong. However, do not sleep on the Bass Pro brand. They are excellent, excellent reels. And actually, Steve Douglas uses these all the time. If you're big on, like, I wouldn't call him a celebrity, but he's a big name in catfishing. So I think if he likes them and he uses them, he trusts them, I think they're a great option. And the third habit of highly successful anglers is they just try new things. There are so many different types of hooks and lures and line and just rods, reels, just so many different things out there that if you feel like you're not having consistent success, but you're using the same things every time, it's time to branch out a little bit. I'm not saying you need to try every new gimmick out there. You're gonna waste a lot of time and money trying to chase those fads, but if there are a lot of fishermen using a particular product and they are having great success, but you're using the same things every time and you're just getting skunked every time you go out on the water, it's time to give those things a try. If you're always using the same bait, I'll speak to catfishing because it's what I like to do more than any other type of fishing, but you're always using cut shad and for whatever reason you're just not catching anything on it, switch it up. Go to cut liver or go to, I don't know, some other kind of bait that you normally wouldn't use. Just try that out. The point is to have as many tools in your arsenal. Try different rigs, try different casting techniques, try different hooks, just try different things and find out what works for you. Always have different tools in the arsenal that you can go to. They also find new places to fish. So the fourth habit of highly successful fishermen is they are studying maps to find these new hotspots. You should always know where you're gonna fish anytime you go out there. It's always a bad idea to just go out and like just drive around or walk a bank until you find something that might look good. Anytime you fish a new lake, a new river, anything like that, you need to have at least a vague idea of where some potential hotspots are. Look for deep pools, river bends, docks, coves where smaller rivers go into bigger rivers. If you can find a structure map, something that'll show you the topography of the bottom, find those deep pools, those ledges, anything that looks different. You might even look for where some bridges go over if it's a bigger lake or river, because those pylons might be a great place to fish. Being more informed about the body of water you're going to fish is always a great idea because it will translate into more fish. That way you don't waste a lot of time fishing in places where they're just not going to be. And the fifth habit of highly successful fishermen is they just don't waste time. This just simply means that they tie all of these habits together and makes them more well-rounded, so they spend the most amount of productive time out there on the water. Always take note of what worked and what didn't, what places you should go to and what places you should avoid. You never want to spend time revisiting places that just never produce any fish or using any lures that just don't simply work. Good fishermen also pay attention to what's working for others. Why go through the whole process of finding the right lure color or the right bait or where fish are biting when you could just go on some Facebook groups or some fishing forums? There's always something on there about specific bodies of water that you can look at, get some information from other people. So that was 5 habits of highly successful fishermen. If you've got any more habits you'd like to share, some things you picked up along the way, make sure you put those down in the comments below. Make sure you check out that Bass Pro link down below if you're looking for any tackle or if you already want to get a jump on getting some stuff for hunting season. Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.